The executive director at the Port of Los Angeles has warned that shipping volume from China will plummet this week. He joins me now to discuss. Gene Soroka and Justin Wolfers is here, a professor of economics and public policy at the University of Michigan. Gene, tell us what you've seen so far, because I know you've already said that a number of major American retailers, the big guys, have stopped shipments from China altogether.
Good evening, Steph. What we're seeing is that about 20% of the normally scheduled vessel arrivals for the month of May have been canceled. This week in particular, the cargo is extremely light, about 35% lower than the same time last year.
So for your average person who's saying cargo ships, how does that affect me? What is that going to mean when they go to their small store in their hometown or a big box store next week or the week after?
Now, from the last segment, you hit it on the nail on the head, Steph. We've got about 125,000 importing companies that call the Port of Los Angeles home every year. No one has more than a 5% share. So it's the small to medium-sized folks that didn't have the opportunity to stock up on inventory before this day of tariffs hit. Now they're in the middle of the crosshairs saying, either I buy at these exorbitant prices, 2.5 times more what they were just last month, and I can't pass on that cost to keep up with the big guys. So we'll likely see about 4 to 6 more weeks of normal inventory levels, then some spot shortages. You may not be able to find exactly what you want, where you want it.
Justin, weigh in here, because we're 4 to 6 weeks away from seeing real impact. These small businesses, they can't call the White House. They have no lobbying ability, and they certainly didn't have the money to load up on inventory the way a big box store could. And we know from the big box stores, they're already predicting pain.
Yeah, let me take Gene's story and add a little bit more economics to it, which is we know that there's less stuff coming in. That's what Gene just told us. We're not making more stuff, so therefore there's going to be less supply. Look, there's 3 ways this can resolve. I think a lot of people have been very quick to jump to the everything's going to be sold out, there'll be nothing left on the shelves story. That's one possibility, but it's not the only one. Another possibility, of course, is the reason that they're not ordering this stuff is they realise they're going to have to jack up their prices, and they'll jack them up so high that not many people are going to want to buy stuff. So it could be we've got a big adverse price shock coming, and you're going to get some sticker shock coming right at you. The third possibility, of course, is that the president may well plunge the economy into recession. If we're at a point where we've got too much demand and not enough supply, well, the recession will wipe out all the demand, and maybe there will be enough stuff on the shelves, but it'll be there because mums and dads can't afford to buy it.
Gene, from your perspective, is there anything that could turn this around in the short term?
Absent getting together with trading nations and crafting these framework deals that the administration is talking about, no, I don't see any change. On the export side, the American farmer is getting hammered. Here in California's Central Valley, whether it's almonds, walnut handlers, they're not selling. And just in the month of March, Steph, Brazil sold more soybeans to China than ever in their history. Lower trade barriers and favorable exchange rates.
So what is it like for freight business? What is it like for people in the cargo business, people who are at the Port of Los Angeles day in and day out over the last 3 weeks? Tell me what their experience is like.
If you're a trucker that's been hauling 4 or 5 containers per day, starting this week, you'll likely be hauling 2 or 3 loads. The dock workers who've been getting overtime and running back-to-back shifts will likely work less than a traditional work week. Warehouses, same way. Not as much staff is going to be needed. Again, in the interim, as we see out now several weeks, and volume dropping precipitously and fast.